Excellent, I'm on. Hello everybody. It is Sunday, August the something earliest. And life's a mess, but I'm living it. Okay. Classes start in 10 days, I think. Classes start on Wednesday the 17th. It looks like this Saturday is the 13th. And that's when all the people will be coming in. Traffic's going to be a mess, and I can't remember what else. And I'm a mess. Okay. What are my plans? I'm definitely going to study some more. I actually got some studying done. Yes, really! I watched the launch of the Juno probe, which was interesting and exciting, and it was like 15 or 20 minutes of me going, okay, there's a rocket sitting on the pad. No, I did not physically go there. I found a live stream of the launch, and I posted it on Facebook. Now the live stream just has the pre-launch video stuff that they were showing off, where it was like, oh yeah, the stuff. Why are we going? What are we doing? Why is it named Juno? Yeah, why is Juno going to Jupiter? But it was interesting, and the most interesting and unique thing that the average person would know and understand about Juno is that it is the probe furthest from the sun to use solar power. That's a big deal. Without the advances that we've made in solar power, a solar-powered probe would not work that far from the sun. And so, this is kind of a big deal, but that's the interesting thing about this probe that the average person would actually understand. And I studied a little bit. I studied my acoustics some. I think that what I'm going to do to study for acoustics, my original plan was to review all of the material for the class that I'd had. You know, basically as if I were watching the videos for the class. And I have been studying a little bit off and on. My goal is to get together all the formulas that I needed to do the homework and to do the tests. If I have all of those, I will at least be somewhere. I'll have something to work with, somewhere to start. That way I don't have to go digging through them at the very start of class when I'm saying, oh, what was the plane wave equation thing again? But I did fairly well with acoustics, and I think I'll do well again. I think I'm taking combustion. I'm not completely sure about that. I've signed up for it. I'm not sure it's going to stay on my schedule, because I've heard some iffy things about the professor, that he can be very demanding, which I usually respect. I really like professors who are demanding. Because the ones who are really demanding, but legitimately so, I usually do well with, because they tell you what they want and then they actually expect you to do it. The only one I didn't do well with was Hassan, where I wasn't able to drop his class, and like he said, you didn't do very well in my class, did you? No, sir, I didn't. But I did very well in rocket propulsion, which is a very similar class. The problem was that the two classes were introducing me to a whole lot of new formulas and a bunch of other new stuff, but they were using similar but different notation. Had they been completely different, it would have been okay. But when you have P sub 0 meaning your ambient pressure in one example, and it's your static pressure in another example, in those two different classes, it was a mess. And so I decided if I keep trying to study both of them this way, I'm going to get extremely confused. They're covering almost the same material. So I'm going to study one of them in great detail and succeed in there, and I'm going to make the other one credit only. And when I looked at which class I was doing better in, I was doing better in Dr. Roberts' rocket propulsion class, which is more relevant to a space guy anyway. So I'm planning to do that. Yes, I respect Dr. Hassan. He's a brilliant man. Very, very old. He's like ancient, but he's awesome. I have another professor who's also extremely old, ancient, and I seem to remember that Hassan was a professor when Desjardins was a student. And wow. Apollo 13. You know Apollo 13? When people were asking why don't they just turn around and come back, Hassan was one of the guys who could say, no, 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 well, you have to burn fuel to come back in space, because it's not like you can just turn around and come back. And they don't have that much fuel, so they're going to go around the moon and then come back. And he's that old. He was explaining orbital maneuvers during the Apollo 13 crisis incident. You know, back when we were still going to the moon. So that gives you an idea of how old he is. But he's awesome. I'm just not always able to understand what he's saying, and I didn't do very well in his class. But I like him. And I've spent like 3 minutes talking about him. Okay, what did I do last week? Thursday I had a big game get together. We all had fun. And drip, 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 drip. I've got a leak. Sort of a leak. My shower head will not turn off all the way. I put in a maintenance request and it is half fixed. Both the hot and the cold water have a washer that was degrading, and the guy was able to fix the cold water washer because he was able to turn it off. But he said something about a plumber needed to come and fix the cutoff for the hot water because it isn't working. And he said that he could not he couldn't fix it because something else was also broken here that also needed fixing. So about 2 o'clock on Monday, once I'm fairly confident that the plumber's not coming by, I'm going to go to the office and ask if the guy remembered to put in a work order like he intended to. So drip, 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 24 hours a day, driving me nuts. And also wasting a lot of water and power because it's hot water that's leaking. And when hot water is leaking, that means that the electricity is burning to heat it up. So please fix my water. But I only put in the request like last Monday. It's only been a week. But it needs fixing. What else has been going on with me? Like I said, I had friends come by last Thursday, and I had the good fortune to find a bunch of people, well, somebody who was throwing out a whole bunch of games, and I was like, really? They had a puzzle they were putting in the dumpster that was still in the wrap. And so I was like, if you don't want it, I want it. So I got some free stuff. Yay. Most of the pieces are all there, and they're not all the kind of really geeky games like I normally enjoy. But I didn't have to pay anything for them, and that makes them well worth their cost. And I do think that I'll play some of them. I gave my mother one of them. It was a little Simon thing. She saw that and she said, that would be perfect for my classroom. I don't have anything like that yet. Can I have that? I said, sure, go ahead, take it for the class. So I made a donation to a school, sort of. What else has been going on with me? I worked on a mechanical... Okay, have you ever heard one of those timers that goes tick, 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 tick? Well, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, whatever. Anyway, I have one of those on my work table. I decided I was going to try to fix it. And I took it apart and I looked at it and it was really cool. And frankly, most of the stuff that could have gone wrong in it, I couldn't fix. But the problem seems to be that the striker for the alarm is not hitting the casing to make the bell ring. And I said, well, I can fix that by just bending the metal so that things will be where they're supposed to be, right? And I've now made the alarm go off like a minute or two before the time is up. Or something. Something is wrong with it. Yes, I've kind of screwed it up. I'm not sure I haven't burned up the gears in messing with it, but since it was broken to begin with, I'm not too worried about it. The worst I can do is learn. And I did learn. One of the things that was really cool about it is that it uses... Most people are familiar with springs. Not everyone is familiar with torsional springs. Torsional springs make things turn. So instead of being a spring that you compress that goes this way, it makes things turn, and it's similar, except that it makes things spin instead of move. Rotation instead of translation for the technical people. And the use of that meant that whatever angle the device was placed at, it would not matter. This is very different from the pendulums that you're familiar with. I mean, it's similar in principle, but it's different in execution. If you've seen pendulums on grandfather clocks, then you've seen one way to keep track of time. And this uses a very similar set of equations, but because it doesn't depend on gravity, then turning the thing over on its side does not make it stop working. It uses a spring instead of gravity. There you go. It's a pendulum that uses a spring. Yeah, that's good enough. So I was playing with that. What else did I do? I've improved my modem's performance slightly. In a fit of rage, I fixed it. So it works a little better now. And that's all I'm going to say. The people who know what I've done to it. I've done nothing serious. So, my modem agency will not be able to tell that anything was done to it after I leave. I showed one of my friends and he said, wow, when you're in a fit of rage, you do stuff that's useful. So I was kind of proud of that. And disappointed in the design of the thing. But anyway, it's all good. I've been working. I'm looking forward to classes. My budget is tight, but I think it works. Money's always tight in the summer for me. But I've not had a day go by where I didn't eat. And I still live here. And between those two things, I'm calling it a good summer. So, yeah, and my entertainment is more or less free. So I'm hoping to have friends over a little bit more. They're always fun and cheap because I can have people come over for free since I've already paid my rent. Well, since I paid my rent. Anyway, whatever. People coming to me is free. I'm looking forward to the semester. It's going to be busy. I need to get good grades, but I'm sure I can do it. And I'm going to do a little studying to make sure that happens. Lots of different random stuff happen, but I guess that's everything. This is getting kind of long, so I'm going to cut it off here. Good day, everybody.